Hello everyone, this is Jim G from Jim G's Coaching Club, and I want to welcome you again to another edition of my video cheat sheet series. And today's topic is going to be how to gain financial independence with Airbnb without owning property in 3 simple steps. The reason why I've chosen this topic is because of you. And I get a lot of questions all the time from people that ask me, how can I own or start and grow a $10,000 per month passive income Airbnb portfolio without banks, without experience, and most of all, without owning property? That's a question that most people ask, and they only ask it because they hear me say it. Most people don't ask because they don't even know it's even possible. They can't even fathom that it's possible. And so what I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you my portfolio and show you how we've done that. Okay? But before we get started, I want you guys to click the link below at any time during this cheat sheet to schedule a live one-on-one with me. And the live one-on-one video conferences are really for people because you know that if you know anything about me, I'm very passionate about helping others, new investors, seasoned investors, start and grow their portfolios to 6 and 7 figures with passive recurring monthly income so that they can really get out of the rat race and really allow real estate to support the things in their lives that are most important. So that vision that God's given you for your life, with real estate, you can live that vision to the fullest. Your ability to spend time with your family and loved ones, your ability to help others, your ability to travel, your ability to really enjoy and share your God-given gifts as much as you want or like. So that's what I'm passionate about. And if you'd like to set up a free one-on-one strategy session where I can dive in and just really analyze your situation and see how I can help you, click on the link below. Then, at the end of this training, I'm going to also share a physical cheat sheet and some additional bonuses that if it's something you want, I want you to type cheat sheet in the comments below, subscribe, and click the notification bell. And if you feel you're getting value from this training, click on the like button. Now, with all that said, let's get started. So, how is it you can gain financial independence and financial freedom with Airbnb without owning property? And what are the 3 simple steps? I say it's simple. It does take a little bit of work, but I'm going to break it down into simple steps. I'm not going to go through the full training for all those steps because what I'm going to do is recommend you take a look at our other videos, which are in the description below, which will get more in detail to specific topics relating to these steps. Okay? But in general, I just want to talk to you about it because you need to know. Most people don't realize it can be done. And so they continue doing what? They continue living that 9-to-5 life and not ever being able to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And so when it comes to Airbnb, it's so different. One of the things I love about Airbnb, I've been doing real estate, as you know, for 30 years now. And one of the things I love about Airbnb is that it is more passive than anything else that I have. I have commercial property, I have traditional residentials, I have homeless ministry that I started 6 years ago, and I have Airbnb properties and portfolios. And with respect to Airbnb, I just manage it right from my cell phone, right? With a couple of apps, a couple pieces of software, and just a couple people on my team. And that's it. And it doesn't matter if I'm in town or if I'm traveling. No one even knows. No one knows. The guests are still taken care of every day they come in. We're generating hundreds of thousands of dollars with our Airbnb portfolio. And at the point of doing this video, I've hosted over 500 stays. So, and that's only been within the last 20 months. So the question is, how do you do that? Well, I like to say it was simple, but in the whole scheme of things, when you look at the amount of time that I spend, I probably spend 30 minutes a day doing anything relating to monitoring my Airbnb or managing my Airbnb portfolio. Unless I'm adding more units. If I add another unit, I might have to spend a little bit more time, maybe an hour throughout the day, and that's just by way of either speaking with someone on my team that's picking something up or handling a document or so. But outside of that's pretty much it. Now, when I say relatively easy compared to what it's bringing in, I mean, when you look at the type of time that I'm putting in, and you're talking about a couple $100,000 a year, so a half an hour a day times 7 days, that's 3.5 hours a week. And if I generate, say, $200,000 a year with 3.5 hours a week, what does that come out to? Say it's $100,000, and you break $100,000 down by 12. That's about $9,000 a month. $9,000 a month. Divide that by 4, and you're at $2,250 a week for 3 hours a week. So it's not too bad, right? It's not really a bad trade-off. And the way I have it now is it's all set up so that if I'm adding more properties, it's not taking me more time to manage. It's just when a new property is coming online, I might be a little bit more involved. But outside of that, once it's set up offline, once we lock it up as far as the paperwork, and now it's in our portfolio, it doesn't create any more work for me. It just creates more cash flow. So from a management perspective, it really is passive. From a cash flow perspective, the beauty of it is that the money comes in every day. It's not a monthly thing like my other rents with a commercial or my residential. It's not monthly. It's not at the beginning of the month. Money gets deposited every day in my account. The third thing is I don't have to talk to anyone regarding any money, regarding any check-ins, regarding any check move-outs, none of that stuff. I don't have to talk to anyone, right? And so when it's set up properly, it truly is passive, and no matter where I am in the world, the money's coming in every day, the systems are operating, and the people that come in and stay at our Airbnbs as guests, they're so wonderful. I'd say 95%, 98% of them are wonderful. You have a couple that, worst case, they need to be catered to hand and foot. The only thing with that is we will do everything that's reasonable, but when they get unreasonable, then we'll tell them they just need to find another place, right? And that's okay. It's okay, because at this stage, really, the way I look at it is they shouldn't be in a place where they're not happy, and we shouldn't be in a position where we have to deal too much with people that we don't enjoy dealing with, right? And so we're always professional. We always try to, bend over backwards to help, but when people are just unreasonable, then we prefer to just cut ties quickly. But outside of that, I as I said, out of 500 stays, I can count on one, maybe two hands of people that just needed a lot of coddling, and some of them stayed, some of them didn't. Some of them stayed and just realized we don't do things, and some of them didn't stay, and it's okay, right? And so that's pretty good, right? So now, what are the other benefits to this? Because as relates to the reason why I'm talking about this is people ask the question, how can I start and grow a $10,000 passive income Airbnb portfolio without a bank, without needing money from a bank to borrow, right? Without having a bunch of experience, and without owning the property. So that's a big thing, without owning the property. So not a lot of money, not a lot of experience without owning. So let's get into that. First things first, whether you're new or seasoned, the first step is you got to get the property. And so why do I differentiate between new and seasoned? Because if you're new, then in most cases you're starting from scratch. However, when I say get the property, it could be your own property. And that's whether you're a seasoned investor or you're a new investor. If it's a new investor and you have some extra property where you might have a spare, an in-law apartment or something in your home, or something like that, or you know someone that has some spare space, you could use that space as your first Airbnb. When I first started, I started with one of my rental units and I converted it over to an Airbnb just to test and see if it was going to be a viable thing. And then from there we went and we grew in 9 months to 21 units. My daughter, who I was mentoring at the time, she just graduated from college, and I wanted to give her some real estate experience and know-how, and so I mentored her for about a year. And Airbnb was one of the things that we kind of learned together, actually. So, but from 0 to 21 units in 9 months, and of those 21 units, only 7 of them I own. The other 14 I leased. So as we're talking about getting the property, there's a couple ways to get the property. One, if you already own property, or if you already have access to extra space, whether you're renting and you have extra space that you don't mind sharing, or if you know someone that has extra space and it's easy for you to maybe get into something with them where you can get everything set up, then you get the space. The other thing is, if you don't have any of that, you could go out and you could buy, or you can lease. Personally, I recommend you start off leasing. Why? Because your return on an investment in either case is going to be really good. But when you lease, the return on investment is going to be through the roof, because your only cost of entry is going to be your first month's rent, security deposit, and then maybe about $300 to $400 per room for setup, right? And so if you got a 3-bedroom apartment or house and you have a living room, kitchen, your 3 times 4 I'll go is $1,200, plus the other 2 rooms, another $800, so about $2,000 for setup. So $2,000 plus the acquisition. If you have a $1,500 space, you're going to pay first month's rent, security deposit, which is $3,000. So it's about $5,000 to get started. Now, it's $5,000 to get started. The first, you don't need the $5,000 up front, because you can just lock up the property. One is security deposit, you're getting that back. The other is rent, right? And you're going to end up getting that back within your first month, right? Within your first month, if you do it properly, do it the way I teach, you're going to be able to, in most cases, make your rent payment for the month, get that back, and you should be able to get close to paying back your security deposit. Within the second month, you should be able to pay your rent, right? The rent that you're going to have for the second month, and then your rent, and then what you have left, you should be able to reimburse yourself for what you paid for the furniture, or very close, right? If you do it right, if you optimize, set up your listings the way I teach you to do that. In my other video series, my cheat sheet series, where I talk specifically about setup. So in any case, if that's something you're interested in, just go to the cheat sheet series and you should be able to get that. But let me explain about the cheat sheet series. The cheat sheet series is and I laugh because I still get tongue twisted when I say it. But the cheat sheet series is more of a nice summary of how things are done. If you want real detailed instruction, then I do have my coaching, my mentoring, and my course, which is the Airbnb Accelerator Academy. And that's something, if you're interested in, just same thing, you can go to the link below and set up an appointment and a one-on-one strategy call, and I'll see if we would be a good fit, and then and either allow you to become a student, or if nothing else, at least give you some more free advice. Okay, so the first step is get the property, right? And how you get the property, again, you're gonna go to Zillow. You're gonna use the template that I give you for free, right at when you type in the comments cheat sheet, or when you wait to the end of the video, and you're gonna use the template and the steps that I teach in my cheat sheet series, right? You're going to use that. It's going to talk about the win-win principles, do all that. So it's pretty simple to get the property, right? It's not that difficult to get the property, as long as you have the wherewithal to come up with at least first month's rent, security deposit. If you can do that, then you don't have to get all the rooms set up, right? In the beginning, you can get the first 1 or 2, and then the next month, when you got some more cash flow coming in, you can invest in what you need to finish the setup. As long as your common areas, like your kitchen and your bathroom and your bedroom that they're going to be staying in, the guests going to be staying in, are ready, then that is all you need to be concerned about. Now, as you notice, I said the room that the guest is going to be staying in. One of the things we focus on is we don't rent out the whole house. What we do is we rent out private rooms within the house, and then that way you're dealing with a population, a group of travelers, professional travelers that are coming and are looking for a nice, safe, clean space that's affordable. They don't want the whole house, because if that was the case, they would just go to a hotel, right? And the reason why they're not going to a hotel, because they're looking for something that's even more affordable. Because what are they there for? They're there for business. They're there for a specific reason, which is the reason why they're traveling. The only thing they're using your space for is to lie their head and to clean their body, and in some cases maybe to eat. But that's it. Most cases they're doing everything outside of the house. So it's the point is, why spend all that money? They need a nice space where they can sleep, that's clean, that's safe, and with others that are in that space with the same mindset, right? And so your return on investment is significantly greater when you do it rooms versus the whole house. Plus your cash flow is always coming in, because you always have people coming and going, right? The second is set up the property. Once you get the property, then it's about setting it up. And there's an offline setup and there's an online setup. And your offline setup is basically picking up your furniture that you're going to get. You're not getting everything brand new, right? You don't have to. The only things that you're really going to be getting new, for the most part, that you have to, is you're going to get your beds new. You don't want to skimp on beds and linen, right? Your beds, your linen, all that stuff. But your couches, you can get slightly used couches and sofas and table sets and those kinds of things. Even dressers, same thing. You can get those things slightly used and save more than half of what you would pay for them in a department store. And so that's one. And so once you get all that set up, the setup is pretty simple. You can get your place set up. It takes typically about a couple days when you use my steps, right? I'll give you a whole list of the things that you'll need for that. And then the online setup. Basically, what you have to do with the online setup is you wanna have your property set up on Airbnb. Now, if you haven't hosted yet before and you want to host, there's a link down at the bottom of in the description that says become a host. You just click on that link and that'll get you a host account, and you can just start setting that up, right? And then if you were one of my students, my accelerator students, then what you would do is you would get a bunch of my templates when it's time to set up, and then I would also hand hold you through that process in the beginning so that you understand the intricacies of setting it up. It's relatively simple when you copy me, like all my students do. The benefit of doing that is that as soon as you put those properties up, they're going to start booking and generating revenue, even though you may not necessarily have the keys to the property yet, right? So you're going to block off days, and then up until a week after you get the keys, and then you're going to be booking clients or guests that are going to be coming to your place after that 4th or 5th day after you get your keys. So they're all going to be ready, and when you open up, you're going to have people just waiting to come in and check in, right? And so you'll already have money waiting for you. So that's the beauty of how you do that. But you have to optimize properly your listings, and I show you how to do that more specifically. Then the third thing is hosting your guests, right? You have to host them. You're going to have guests that are coming in from all over the world, and literally, and they come from all walks of life. They're doctors, they're teachers, they're mothers, they're fathers, they're engineers, they're utility workers. They come in from all different types of backgrounds for many reasons. They may be visiting on pleasure. They may be visiting on business, where they're doing a rotation with their job. They may be visiting family. They may be visiting their children at college. They could be coming for medical reasons. There's a number of reasons why people come. But for the most part, people are coming and they're pleasant, right? They're so pleasant. And all you have to do is really just set up your space so that it's comfortable for them, that it's clean, right? That it's safe. And if you do that and you keep all your instructions pretty simple, and you communicate well with them, then it's going to be a great experience where they give you a 5 stars and refer you to others. Not only that, many of them will come back again because they enjoyed the stay. And so with that, again, it's 3 simple steps. You don't need to go to a bank because you're not buying, you're leasing, right? And one of the simplest things to do is to lease a piece of property, to lease an apartment, right? Or a house, to rent an apartment or a house. So you can do that pretty simply. If you're already a host and you want to understand how to optimize a little bit better, click on the link below and set up a strategy session with me. And if you already have property and you just want to get set up, same thing. But if you're new, right? If you're new, really new, and you just want to start getting set up, what I would recommend you do is go to our other video in the video cheat sheets, and you'll find it in the link below. And that, again, will get into more detail as to how you pick up the properties, right? Using the template. The second thing is, again, setting up the property is pretty simple: offline setup, online setup, and then hosting your guests. So it is 3 simple steps. There's a lot of moving parts within all 3 of those steps, but you can do it, right? And here's the beauty of it: every property you pick up, if you have a property that is, say, $1,000 a month to rent, or $1,500 to $2,000 a month to rent, the way we teach you how to identify and understand how much you can pay for that, I mean, how much you're going to earn off of that, the formula that we use, basically, when you pick up a property, you're going to be doubling or tripling your rent. So if you're paying $1,500, then what you should be getting back, what you should be earning on that property, is anywhere from $3,000 to $4,500. So you've doubled or tripled your rent. You pay your rent with that, and then the other, the balance of the positive cash flows goes to your pocket, right? And so that's how it should work. So think about it. If you did that once, right? Think about the ROIs. If you did that once and you're making, even if it's $1,500 a month, if that's all you're making on one, right? You did that once. If it cost you $1,500 to pick it up, plus the $1,500 security deposit to pick it up, then what's your return on investment, right? Your gross return on investment is over 100% a month, right? It's about 100% a month. And what is that on an annual basis? It's over 1,000%. So that's from a return on investment perspective, but think about it from a cash flow perspective, because ROI doesn't pay the bills, right? ROI is great, right? Because you can get it to pay the bills if you understand how big it is or how small it is. But what pays the bills is cash flow. So if you have $1,500 and it costs you $5,000 to make, when I say $5,000, cost of acquisition, if you're paying $1,500 for first month's rent, security deposit, that's $3,000 plus another $2,000 for setup. That's all in $5,000, right? However, of that $5,000, $1,500 is security deposit. You're getting that back. The other $1,500 is the first month's rent, and you're going to get that back the first month as well. So you're really only going to have in $2,000 that is not necessarily coming back because it's in your setup costs. Right, but your first month you should get your rent back, and then later on you're gonna get your security deposit back in hand. But your second month you should be able to generate enough money to now at least reimburse you for your security deposit while it's sitting in your landlord's account, escrow account. But think about that. Then every month thereafter, it's all profit, right? It's all profit. So if you got $1,500 a month in positive cash flow, and then you want to pick up another one, 2 months down the road, 2 or 3 months down the road, if you're getting $1,500 a month or $2,000 a month, right? You wait another month or two, you got most of that in hand, and now you can do it again. That's how this works. So basically, the Airbnbs will fund themselves. And so in a couple months, you pick up another one that comes from cash flow. It's not coming from your cash reserve. So you don't have to go to the bank, right, for another one, right? You just get one out of cash flow. And then a couple months later, now you have 2 properties, right, that's generating $1,500 to $2,000 a month. Now, when you want to pick up another one, you can do that, right, with the cash flow from the 2, right? So you don't have to wait as long, and you can do it again, right? And then what happens? Now you have 3. Now at 3, you have the ability to do the same thing one more time, right? You can do it again in a couple more months. So after you get to a certain point, now you're gonna be able to grow that just from cash flow, and at some point you'll still have a lot of excess cash flow even when you're using cash flow to pick up other properties. But by using that type of strategy, that's what we did, and we grew to nine properties. I mean, not 9 properties. In 9 months, we grew to 21 units, and that was the process we used to get there, right? So I just want to thank you for joining me again this series. Again, if you know me, you know that I'm passionate about helping others to achieve financial freedom, financial independence using my creative real estate techniques and strategies versus the old tired traditional ways of doing things. I used to use the old tired traditional ways of doing things 9 years after I bought my first property, and I was still working at a full-time job that was earning more money than I was making in my real estate. If you know my story, when I switched back to the non-traditional methods that I use today, I made $300,000 that first year. I wrote my letter of resignation to the bank that I worked for as a vice president, and I said bye to my 6-figure a year job. I never looked back, and I never regretted a minute of it, right? And that was 20 years ago. And so you have the ability to do the same thing, and really, in most cases, most of you, within the first 6 months, if you just implement this strategy and you duplicate it because it is simple, you could replace your income. You don't need $300,000. I didn't need $300,000 either. I just wanted to have as much of a war chest as possible to prove that it wasn't just a fluke what I was doing, and that was, using other creative real estate, not this strategy, but other creative real estate techniques that I use to build my portfolios and my wealth. So with that, again, I want to say thank you. If that is something if you're interested in doing more of that and learning more of that and potentially even becoming a student, and me helping you, via mentoring and personal coaching, then again, click the link below and set up a video strategy session with me, and I'd love to speak with you. Real estate is one of my passions, but now it's a passion that supports my other passions, like spending time with my family, traveling, sharing the word of God, encouraging the folks at my homeless ministry, and spending time in helping my students. Those are my passions, and real estate now supports my ability to do that anytime I want. So I want the same thing for you, and I just want you to know it is truly possible. So as always, God bless you, and I'll see you in the next series.